Welcome to Starcast. I'm Dreadbane, joined by Sapphire, and our featured match is the second one between mOOnGLaDe, the purple Zerg, versus KJH, the pink Terran. Now, this is Lost Temple. I'm looking forward to this second game, sir.
Yeah, surprising first game there. I thought KJH, well, Blistering Sands and Terran, that he would be able to survive a bit longer than he did, but I think mOOnGLaDe is just angry. I think he was stunned by Az in the upper bracket, and he's super angry about being knocked into the lower bracket. So we just saw mOOnGLaDe just playing super aggressive and super well in that first game. So yeah, interested to find out whether or not KJH is going to be able to hit back. There is always that mentality, and he got himself with a narrow loss in his three-game series that went to an ace match actually against Filthy. So KJH has got to be thinking, geez, what do I have to do to get through here? So he really needs to just concentrate on his game and bring himself back in there. So I'll be interested to see whether or not KJH sticks to the same build or we see something different, and whether mOOnGLaDe sticks to the same build. So yeah, always good to find out whether players adjust their strategy after a win. So I'm not sure what we're going to see this game, but excited to find out.
I like the early aggression from mOOnGLaDe. Like you can tell he wasn't happy about the that game against Filthy, but sorry, against Az. But yeah, I like the early aggression because of course it just puts the other player on the back foot, and it just really helps a lot just to keep them back. I mean, you can of course have different strategies to everything, and that's why StarCraft is awesome. But I like seeing early aggression just because it makes it a much more interesting game to watch.
Yeah, we are seeing this very fast gas build from mOOnGLaDe. He's getting his gas online, and it's coming out just as he puts down his 13 worker spawning pool down. So very fast gas from mOOnGLaDe. Whether or not he opts for very fast speedlings or goes into super fast layer, we'll be interested to find that out. I imagine that it's going to be to get really fast speedling upgrade and really apply the pressure early. And once again, he's going for that gas steal harassment, which does slow down Terran a little bit. They don't get their second gas quite at the time they want it, especially if they're going for a mech build or some kind of starport build. So definitely a solid harassment, very similar to last game from KJH. He didn't lose the SCV that was making his barracks, and his barracks wasn't delayed due to that really nice SCV defense timing that he has going down. But once again, he did lose his gas, so he didn't quite deny the drone as well as he could be. But it's so hard for Terran to deny that. Both players scouting pretty efficiently. We aren't seeing a very fast expansion from mOOnGLaDe this time, so we're already seeing a bit of difference. He is going for a one base play at this point, just mixing it up, keeping KJH guessing. Whether or not we see perhaps banelings or roaches, or whether he just sticks to these speedlings that are starting to come out now, and he's sending them across the map. Meanwhile, KJH has his wall, and he has his wall up this time, so I don't imagine these speedlings are going to get a free pass into the base. He is seeing them with his SCV. So yeah, at this point, looks like mOOnGLaDe is coming up with a much different do, and a fast lair going down. He's clicking that upgrade very fast, so that super early gas, allowing him to get that fast speed upgrade, which is at about 70% now. So once that comes online, he's going to be able to defend his very fast tech build quite well. And second gas coming online, so we may actually see some fast Mutalisks coming down for mOOnGLaDe. So at this point, KJH sticking with a very similar build. That factory just coming online now, and straight into armory though, which is a bit of a variation already. So we may actually see some Thors here coming out for KJH. So he's obviously recognized something in this build from mOOnGLaDe with no expansion coming down that he didn't like, and he's expecting Mutalisks. So we may see some Thors coming out very fast. So interested to find out whose strategy is going to execute better here.
Yeah, he's got the hopefully some Thors. I'd love to see some because it's been a while. But he's also got the starport out, so he's looking to really maybe keep these Mutalisks off the field with some Vikings and some Thors. And the problem with that, of course, is he'll have a very small ground army, so he'll have to be very careful not to just get overrun by if mOOnGLaDe just chooses to go so many Zerglings. But yeah, it's curious to see if KJH can actually get these units out in time before mOOnGLaDe really starts pumping out all these higher tiered units here. Yeah, I like this play by KJH though. He's changing it up. I always like seeing Thors on the field, so looking forward to it.
Little bit of trick play here from mOOnGLaDe. After having KJH scout him and know that he's doing one base and teching, he's actually hidden his Roach Warren at his ramp here without an expansion. So we're seeing a transition into delayed one base Roaches and we're seeing tunneling claws being upgraded, and he does have burrow. So a bit of a left field play here from mOOnGLaDe. Having seen that, KJH is rightly expecting mutas, and he does have Thor on the way, and he's committed to this Thor build, and he's getting a medevac, so he's probably thinking about doing Thor drops to counter these mutas and do some harassment. But this one base play, I think, with transitioning to roaches, is going to catch KJH a bit off guard. We're seeing Burrow is finished now, and this research is done. He may have just caught a roach coming out with that scan, and that scan does see a roach, so he's going to realize what's going on now. But it may be too late. He's going to need to get something online to counter these roaches, and possibly think about getting siege tanks out now that he's seen them. And we are seeing siege tank research going on, but we are seeing the Thor being transported around by this dropship. I don't know how they carry the weight, but you know, those dropships, they're sturdy built things, they must be Tonka tough. So he's going into harass now. Whether or not he's going to be successful remains to be seen. We are seeing these roaches react and the queen coming in, so not sure how much damage KJH is going to be able to do. He's going to need to keep this harassment up to ensure that these roaches can't go to his base. They do have tunneling claws almost on the way, burrow finished, now speed coming up, so it's pretty bad situation here for KJH. He really needs to come up with some kind of army. He does have siege tanks being produced and tanks on the way, so he's working on it, but I'm not sure whether he's going to have an answer for these tunneling roaches. I imagine we're going to see them go underground very, very shortly. So yeah, curious to see if this is going to work.
I love it. I love it by mOOnGLaDe. This sneaky little, like, roach, you know, like sharks just coming slowly into the base. I love this play by mOOnGLaDe. It's so just crazy to see. We'll see if it pays off for him, because these siege tanks are in position now. So this could end very badly for, well, mOOnGLaDe if he's not very careful here. So
yeah, he does get that supply depot down, and now he's moving in towards the siege tanks. 2 tanks going to do a lot of damage there, but he's able to skate right next to them, waiting for the regen to kick in. Now he's back up, taking 1 siege tank out, working on the second. This is terrible for KJH. With few of the roaches going down, but we are seeing 5 of them surviving. The Thor coming back in to try and defend here. He's going to need to pull SCVs off to keep that Thor up, but the regeneration of these roaches really kicking in. He can just burrow them and keep them underground. And we are seeing the Thor. I like the positioning here behind these barracks. It's really going to be tough for these roaches to go to work, but they are burrowing. 1 scan is going to reveal them. So we are seeing KJH react pretty nicely, but he doesn't have the scan mana. He still doesn't have the scan mana, and we're seeing reinforcements, more speedlings, more roaches coming in. He's going to desperately try and get this turret up, but we're seeing these roaches come in. No tank out yet. So it's all about keeping this Thor alive, and there are quite a lot of roaches in his base, so it's going to have to keep this Thor alive at all costs. We are seeing the scan go off, so now mOOnGLaDe is forced to attack. This Thor is still in pretty good shape at half health, really tearing through these roaches. It has 6 kills and a tank coming online as well, and the Thor being picked up, so a bit of micro there by KJH. KJH responding really, really well to this, but more roaches. mOOnGLaDe is just piping them in. SCV's coming in to try and repair this Thor. No, they're sending it to the expansion. I don't like that from KJH. KJH should have tried to repair there. He has a few SCVs that are trying to repair this Thor, but terrible shape. We are seeing bunches of roaches try and face the siege tank off. He's just ignoring this Thor now while he chases the siege tank out. If this siege tank is able to fend them off and siege up, he's going to be able to do so much damage. But once again, the roach burrow is just being used so effectively. It's caught KJH completely off guard, but the Thor is completely healed up here. Meanwhile, we're seeing an expansion come online from mOOnGLaDe. So mOOnGLaDe is now getting his macro up. He's been one basing this entire time, but we're seeing these roaches skate around this base at will. This Thor trying to stop these roaches at the expansion, getting more kills. This Thor is now a Sergeant Thor with 11 kills. And a supply depot coming online. He really needs more turrets to go up, but we're seeing a bunch of roaches surrounding this Thor. Thor getting out thanks to the medevac, but there's so many roaches and they're free to go to work on these expansions, and it's just clogged with SCVs who are now fleeing for their little lives. But we are seeing the siege tank siege up here, so this is bad positioning for mOOnGLaDe. This siege tank is going to be able to really go to work on these roaches as they come in, and they've still got this walled area to work with. More marauders on the ramp, so this is going to be close.